Listen, this is a great time since I just started recording to remind you that this could have been a sapphic romance, but you unknowingly changed it to this.
I think you're just being fish phobic.
I hadn't told you what book I was planning for January yet, and then you were like, "You should do Fourth Wing because you're gonna read it anyways." And I was like, "You right." And Onyx Storm comes out in January, so it would be good in January. And look at us
Um,
now,
but also, why being
lesbian phobic. I love my lesbians. Okay, I collect lesbians.
you don't love me.
I collect my lesbians with gender dysphoria like there's no tomorrow. Apparently, um, I have multiple. They keep duplicating. I don't know where they're coming from.
I'm the OG, so
You really are. Um,
are they clones of me? Am I? Or is this like some weird like asexual reproduction?
I don't think so. All right, we ready? We ready? It's been so long since we recorded, so let's see if I remember the intro. Hello, welcome to a Fish and Flower podcast. I'm Flower, aka Rose. My fun fact is that my hair is shorter, and the intrusive thoughts are entering my brain. I also want to dye my hair again, and I want to dye it pink, like pastel pink. So
Oh,
I think I'm mentally ill.
well, my hair is currently pink. I need to re-dye it red. Let me restate the fact. My hair is black and red. Who is more mentally ill?
Accurate, accurate. Okay, who are you?
My name is Fish, aka Stingray, by the way. But also, is that actually my name? Because I've never had a stable sense of identity. Like I've gone through like 20 names since I was 12. It's fine. I'm fine. I'm so normal. I totally almost didn't pierce my ears the other day and said I just cut my hair. But don't worry, it was after I was no longer manic. Don't worry. Don't
Alright.
worry.
This is extremely cautious is this podcast. Very similar to how we talk to each other on a daily basis. Fourth wing. Fourth wing. Okay, I have thoughts and opinions about this book. Go into the good old Recaptain's website for the summary and whatnot and what happened in the book. Because it has been like 2 weeks since I've read it. This was not planned. I was never planning to read Fourth Wing. In fact, my most popular video on my channel today, one of the possible options for reading in that vlog was Fourth Wing. But then I read a book about World War II soldiers turned self-aware banging woman. Um, a normal book. Um,
Girl, anyways,
and then a friend got the first two, because on Nick Storm wasn't out yet, of course. Um, for Christmas and really loved the first one and talked me into reading the first one, and then the fish talked me into doing it for the podcast, and here we are, which is great because I have thoughts and opinions. In which I should bring up the fact a bitch who has rated like 60 books total out of like 800 5 stars, and this is one of them.
hear me out. If I don't enjoy hearing about this book, I'm gonna be mad at you because I can be mad after daydreaming right now.
Okay. um, listen, I was reading this book. It's funny because I was reading another book shortly after this, like right afterwards, and I was like, do I not like smut in books anymore? And then I remembered I was tee-heeing quite literally while reading this. Um,
I need
so,
to read a book with smut. I really do. Like it's January and I've only read one book. Like what else? Like what else is gonna? Like what else will fix me at this
yeah, I
point?
know,
Like
right? Right? So I, when I say, I get why some people might not like this, okay? But I like this. I've got multiple reasons. It hilariously plays on some romance fantasy tropes. Especially the love triangle. I will tell you, in like the first 100 pages, I was thinking in my head, they should do the Iron Wing thing where it's just a throuple. That would fix everything. And then,
real.
like less than 100 pages later, she just flips the script on it, and I'm like, oh, that's why it's not the Iron Wing thing. um, so that's
Hear
fun.
me out though. I hate the word romantasy.
Same. Um, and then what else? There's so much I can talk about this book. Here's the thing about me. Fun fact: I do not enjoy end battle scenes in books. Some of my favorite books being Legendborn and Iron Widow. Why is my brain like this? Iron Widow. I don't like the end fight scenes. Those books are like favorite books of all time for me, but I don't like end fight scenes in books. I just can never sit in it. I never understand what's really happening. I'm just sitting there just like, okay, can this get over with? Blah blah blah. I don't know what the fuck Rebecca did. I don't know what she did, but I was saying that. I was understanding everything. I was living it. I cried when a character died. And so I think we have to give her props just for that, okay? Like,
I gotta give her something, I guess. I don't know.
also,
I don't know.
I had with this book, this was the book that had that realization. I don't remember the name of the term where you recognize something and then you see it everywhere, right? Um, because the first book I rated this year, which I also rated 5 stars, the main character and the author both had the same disability as the main character and author as Fourth Wing, which also a YouTuber I started watching it again this year also learned she has. So now this disability is like surrounding me, and I'm like, what is happening? So just a fun fact.
Do you need to be concerned?
I don't know. I was like, I'm pretty sure I don't have this, but what is happening? Anyways, ready for me to actually talk about the book.
Sure.
There's content warnings of like death, and there's a lot of people dying in war. Okay. I will tell you, I did laugh when some people died. I'm sorry if the annoying bitch gets burned alive. I'm gonna burst out laughing. Okay.
Me when Octavian got killed. That's the last one I can remember.
So the main character's name is Violet. I forget that's her name because I always just hear him saying violence, which is what he calls her. We love Zayden. Yeah.
Anyways.
Yeah, she's the daughter of a general who is highly respected, all this stuff. She had 2 siblings, Brennan and Mira. Mira, they both became dragon riders, right? Mira is still a dragon rider. She is highly acclaimed. Brennan was also, when you're a dragon rider, you get a special power from your dragon, and he was a healer, like magically able to heal people. So he was like really acclaimed, and then he died in the war.
Oh, not the war.
Not the war. And her father was a scribe, and he's dead now as well, by the way. And so it was always assumed that she was going to be a scribe as well, especially with her disability. But her mother forces her to go to be a dragon rider. Yep. Mira tries to argue against, because, like, I think it's like 20% of the class every year dies, right? So she's like, don't send your disabled child into this test where she could easily die. What the fuck?
I mean, 20% isn't actually that big because it's not a quarter.
You're right. If you're right, you're right. And of course, Mira doesn't want to lose another sibling. Violet's like, listen, there's no way you can change her fucking mind.
Mira.
I know, right? She's like, we can't change her fucking mind.
People die.
If I don't do it of my free will, she will drag me there, and it'll be worse for me. So, Mira gives her some dragon-scaled armor that's made from the dragons of her own dragon that will protect her from basically any weapon.
Because that makes sense.
Yep. And gives her advice and all this stuff, including a book that her brother wrote for Mira when she went to be a dragon rider. So it's like she's getting messages from her brother beyond the grave about what to do, right? And one of the main pieces of advice she gives her, this is very important.
I do that too. It's just called having delusions and being hearing things.
My favorite part is you can see my face laughing at you. So one of the main things Mira teaches her is well, there's 2 things. There's Dane. After I finished this book, I did see a review on Fable calling him Dane of my ass or something like that. I hate Dane. We will talk about it. Dane and I have issues.
What kind of a name is Dane? Let's start there.
The other love interest is Zayden, okay? We don't got time for this. It's so funny because I'm in the group chat with the person who told me to read this book. I literally went within like 50 pages. I went, I don't trust Dane. I don't like Dane. He gives me weird feelings. And every time he would do something, I would say it again. And she kept on replying with the scared grinning emoji, like gritting your teeth emoji. And then I read the end of the book and I went, yeah, that's why. Um, so, good times. So her main advice to her is one, Dane's gonna be there. Dane is like her childhood best friend, kind of, except he's like a few years older, right? So he can be the protector while she's there. And the other thing is that do have sex. People have sex all the time here because you could die at any moment. Just don't have sex with any upperclassmen because then they will think you're getting special treatment because you're paying a Lincoln.
Okay.
Yeah. So time to do the obstacle course to get into the college, and a lot of people die. Woo!
LOL.
So on the way on this obstacle course, she meets Rhiannon and Dylan. Um, she
Not.
lends Rhiannon a boot because her sister gave her these special boots that have better traction. So she gives her one so that they have a 50-50 chance, right? And another guy named Jack follows him up the stairs, and he takes immediate dislike to Violet and is all like, she's a weak ass bitch because she's only 5'2". I gotta kill her.
Imagine being short phobic. Wow.
I would when she gets to the top, she does, in order to get him to leave her alone, put a knife to his balls.
As she should. I mean,
yeah.
What else is there to say? Like, as she should.
Upon reaching the top, she meets Xaden for the first time. And her sister did warn her to avoid Xaden at all points because his father led the uprising. That was the war where Brennan died. And I think his father actually was the one to kill Brennan, and then her mom killed his father.
Damn, that's crazy.
So there's like this whole thing, where all the children of the people of the rebellion, like all the people in the rebellion, who were adults, were straight up assassinated, in front of their children. Cool. And then their children were stolen and were forced to either go through the dragon trials or be killed. And there's this whole thing. We learned later on that he has, the over 100 lashes on his back because that her mother gave him, because for each of the children of the rebels and all this stuff, and he's the one who's in charge of them because it's like this whole thing where he takes care of them, and if they do something bad, he gets in trouble and all this stuff. Yes.
No, I hate in books and whatever it is where other people are responsible for other people's actions. That's not how that works. Mm-hmm. You are responsible for your own actions. You get murdered, no one else deserves to get punished for that unless they're right there with you. What does your child have to do with that? Like, I'm sorry, what? What are we on about?
And they put them.
I hate that shit.
I know, right? They put them through the trials because they assumed that they'll just die in the trials anyways, right? Except he's a wing leader, which is like, I don't remember in Iron Flame, which I do have from Libby and am reading in the next week. Do not worry. I do remember there being a page that has like the order of how the hierarchy in a school goes, and I think wing leader is like charge for students, right? So he's pretty important, which you wouldn't think they would do for somebody who is the son of the leader of the rebellion, but that's fun.
I stopped questioning things in books like this a long time ago. I just let them do what they want, and I'd be like, okay, sure, that totally makes sense.
So Dylan falls during the obstacle course. So
I want to go on an obstacle course. I need some excitement in my life.
Me and this person on an obstacle course. You. I want to go on an obstacle course.
It sounds fun. Like, I don't know, nothing too crazy. Just like a little jump skip and a hop,
We're funny. We're hilarious.
We? You mean me?
Violet goes to find Dane. He is a second year and a squad leader. He takes Violet and Rhiannon into his squad, but not before trying to convince Violet to leave and become a scribe. here's the thing. I'm not gonna bring it up every time it fucking happens, but at least every 50-ish pages, he goes, "Oh my god, you should totally fucking leave. I don't trust that you can do this. You need to get out. I don't care what your mother will do. You need to get out." And she's all like, "My mother will just drag me back here." And he's like, "No, you need to get out." And then slowly it becomes her getting more confident and being like, "I can like actually possibly get through this." And he's like, "Yeah, but you should get out of here because you shouldn't be here. So you should get out of here." And literally trying to physically force her to multiple times. This was my first red flag.
Hear me out. 95% of problems in books could be solved if the female main characters would just knock these bitches upside their heads and tell them to be serious, to be for real, and it would be fine.
Listen, here's one of my main reasons, other than everything that happens at the last 100 pages of the book, of why I'm Team Xaden over Dane, which is the fact that, once they start, like, actually talking, he immediately, one, does not care about her disability. He's all like, cool, your violence, you can, like, take care of yourself. Two...
I'm sorry, that's so cringy.
I know, right? He, helps her out. He is, he trusts in what she wants and believes that she can handle herself. Meanwhile, Dane is like, no, your disability makes it so you can't do anything. I don't like Dane. And so, Xaden puts, Dane's squad under his command as wing leader, therefore she is under his command, which is a big issue because, oh no, her mother killed his father.
Boo.
I know, right? So classes begin, and it becomes very apparent quickly. Because Violet has been practicing to be a scribe this whole time, one, she already knows most of the, like, intellectual knowledge for the intellectual courses, right? But also on the other side, she's really good at memorizing things and stuff like this. So those classes are really easy. It is the combat classes that are difficult for her.
Why is that always how it is? If you're a female main character in a situation like this, it's always the combat that's the hard part for you. Be serious. Can we have a book where the combat is not the problem?
One, she has a cool workaround that I will talk about in a minute. Two, it is understandable because her disability makes it so her joints will just pop out.
Yeah.
So
yeah. I'm pretty sure I dislocated my hip the other day. Anyways. No, I was just thinking about that because I just read Divergent, and, like, obviously she's smart, she's divergent, but she can't fight. It takes her so long to learn how to fight. Like, let the female characters be strong!
So she tutors Rhiannon in the history classes, and Rhiannon teaches Violet to fight. It becomes a thing. So, based off of the things that in her brother's journal that was given to Mira, that Mira gave to her, she is able to learn how the teachers will set up the fights for the week. And so she knows a week ahead who she's going to fight. And she uses that and the fact that she goes on kitchen duty to poison the other people just slightly, so that
that's her workaround.
So that, like, they throw up when they go to punch her, and then she can stab a bitch. I was laughing.
That's just outright cheating. Hold on.
There's no rules. The rules of the Dragon Rider crew is like there's no rules and don't kill anybody in their sleep. That's it. So technically, you can do that, and it's iconic. Hear me out.
She needs help. Y'all need help. I
don't. One night while gathering bark for poison, she sees Xaden and a group of the marked ones, which is the children of the rebels, gathering below a tree. There's, like, this whole rule that groups of 3 of the children, like, any more than 3 cannot meet up, or else they will all die. And so there's, like, 10 of them. Yeah, she's in the tree, and she, while in the tree, contemplates reporting them to Dane. However, she realizes they're not gathering for any nefarious reasons. Xaden is there just trying to teach the first years how to survive this whole ordeal. Right?
Anytime a character says they're in a tree, or, like, they're in a tree for whatever reason, I think of them standing in the tree like Edward Cullen. Like in a crouch, you know?
I love it for you.
Like, even in the Hunger Games when Katniss is, like, laying in the tree, no, she's, like, squatting in the tree.
sends everyone else away, and then he's like, cough, cough, I know you're there.
Oh my god.
Right? He has reasonings. It's called his magical ability. We will talk about it. It's kind of obvious, and they agree that Violet won't report anything. She's like, there's nothing to report. Like, you were just helping them out. That doesn't seem anything nefarious to me, so therefore, why would I tell anybody anything? And he's like, But also, I guess I owe you one. The squad starts training to run the gauntlet, which is, you gotta run the gauntlet, I think, to get to the dragons, to then possibly merge with a dragon and become a dragon rider. It's complicated. She's really short in comparison to everyone else, so the end obstacle is like a ramp up, but it's basically straight up, and so she can't, like most people, the way you're supposed to do is run up and jump up to reach, and then climb over.
Like in American Ninja Warrior?
Yes. I'm willing to bet she watched American Ninja Warrior while writing this part. But because of how short Violet is, she cannot jump that high. So, she takes one of the ropes and, like, swings herself up and around. Like, the hanging ropes on the side for in case you fall, you can grab onto those and hopefully pull yourself back up, or else you fall to your death. She takes one of those.
Instead of water, there's death. Okay.
Yes. And so she takes one of those, and she just swings herself up. Amber, who is another wing leader, who is Dane's kind of ex, is all like, oh my god, she's cheating. And Dane's like, she's just being smart. And lets it be.
I mean, if there's no rules.
Yeah, there's no rules. Literally, that's what he says. He's like, technically, the only things you can only bring things that you brought with you when you came to the school. And so the only things on her are, like, her knives that she brought with her. There's, like, this whole thing where in the combat, you fight people with knives, and the only way you can get more knives is by defeating people in the practice combat, right? That's important for later. And so she's all like, no, these are actually my knives that I initially brought with me, so therefore I'm allowed to do this, blah, blah, blah. And Zayden's just like, she's just being smart. So she's allowed to go on the field to bond with dragons. And so they go to a presentation where they have to walk past by all the dragons that are available for bonding this year. And so the dragons can sniff them out, right? They notice a golden feathertail at the very end of the row, which is, like, very small, very tiny, okay? And so a bunch of guys are like, oh my god, it's so tiny, just like Violet, and therefore it must die because the weakest link must die, and all this stuff, right? So it's them all in a row, and there's this one girl who's constantly fucking annoying. This whole book, she's been really fucking annoying. She's even worse in this scene. And she's nagging people constantly, and then next thing you know, she's being burnt fucking alive, and I laughed so hard. I was like, okay, I see what's happening here. So both Rhiannon and Violet get out. There is this thing where some of the dragons, like, sniff her out, and it's, like, a close one, and it's very interesting. It's time for the threshing, which is when they go out to bond with the dragon. Right? Violet spots the gold dragon on its own and overhears Jack and two others talking about killing it and destroying the weakest link. Which, you know, makes her feel some kind of way, because that's how they also talk about her, all this stuff. So she heads straight over.
Hear me out. I feel like the actual weakest links are the people who talk about the weakest links.
I would also like to know, it is illegal to kill a dragon for obvious fucking reasons, so... So she heads straight over, tries to get the dragon to leave, but the trio of guys arrive too quickly. Zayden is also there, just behind her, watching everything, but as the third here, he's only allowed to observe and not intervene. She starts fighting the guys off. She throws a dagger at Jack and fucks up his shoulder.
LOL.
And is starting to struggle with the other two. And then Zayden takes a step in to help her, but what's the largest dragon here? The big giant black dragon. Obviously, as soon as you fucking saw this dragon, you knew it was gonna be her dragon, okay, right? The largest dragon here, shows up, is all like, hey, you my bitch now, and then burns one of the other guys alive. And I'm just saying, if you try to kill a fucking dragon, maybe you should be burned alive. I'm just saying.
Barbecue.
Literally, it's so funny because afterwards, the guys who survive blame it on her. I was like, you're the one who tried to kill a dragon, you dumbass.
Do we need to get some barbecue sauce for the barbecue?
I don't think he'd taste good. So.
Well, barbecue sauce can fix anything, apparently, so I've been told.
You are in Texas. That makes sense for Texas. Jack has already run off by this point. And then the other guy is Oren, who is knocked out, and she decides to let him live. So yay! So, the Black Dragon decides to bond with Violet. Part of the bonding is that they will tell you their name, and then, you go up to the professors and you tell, them your name, and then your dragon's name, and, quietly, so that nobody else can overhear, and then they mark you down as that dragon's bond, because they only tell their bonded, what their names is. His name is Taryn. And super old and large, and flies Violet back to the big main field with the golden dragon. Everyone, of course, is watching this in awe because the giant fucking dragon is here.
Yeah, I think we're gonna know whose dragon's what at that point with that one at least. Like,
yep. She goes to register her bond, and then the golden dragon speaks to Violet in her mind, and her name is Andarna, and that they're also bonded. She's double bonded. This is like this and
not her hearing voices in her head.
That's how the dragons talk to you. That and the very, very, very end plot twist are the two things I was spoiled for before I read this book. But it was kind of obvious, so with this one. The other one was not, and so I was kind of disappointed I was spoiled. But and no one has bonded with more than one dragon before. So everyone's in an uproar, including her mother. Did I mention her mother's there? She hasn't even come to say hello. And then, so the dragons go to converse because, if the dragons are okay with it, then the humans can't do anything about it because the dragons are the ones in control, cough, cough. Right?
I don't understand why people get mad when someone's good. Like, be serious.
Right? And so they are all having a good old chit-chat, with the Dragon Council, and the Dragon Council's like, yeah, live your best fucking life, I don't care. So the humans have to fucking deal with it. And so, oh my god, wait, no. Whoever wrote these notes, this is so me-coded, and I quote, Dane kisses Violet out of excitement, and Violet feels nothing, thank God. This whole entire book, at this point, up to this point, she has had lingering feelings for Dane since childhood, right? And so he goes out of excitement and kisses her, and she's like, I felt nothing. I feel not a thing. That is kind of sad. And later on, he's all like, we can't be together because it's technically against the rules, and all I care about are the rules. I can't choose you over the rules. That's a big thing with him. And she's all like, oh, well, that's fine, because I felt nothing back there, so... So Violet is warned that she can still be killed by unbonded humans who will now be after her, because if they kill her, they may have a chance with Taryn, which is kind of an issue, because the last time Taryn's human died, it almost killed him. And it's a thing where, at this point, if she dies, it will be a good chance that Taryn will die. And if Taryn dies, his dragon mate will also die. And you know who... If a dragon dies, their human dies, but if human dies, their dragon doesn't necessarily die. And so, if she dies, her dragon dies. And if her dragon dies, its mate dies. And the one that bonded with that mate is Xaden. So if she dies, Xaden dies. So he's all like, putting his people protecting her, all this stuff, being all like, having his people train her to be stronger, all this stuff. There's a point where they practice in the combat room because he has knives that are specifically built for her, but the only way she can get them is by defeating him in battle. So he purposely lets her defeat him in battle and just lays there and takes it so that she can take all his knives.
Well,
I would like you to know everybody was watching them as they're almost kissing as this is happening, and I'm just like, okay. So, one night while she is sleeping, she is attacked by 6 people, one of them being Amber, Dane's paramour.
Why'd you say it like that? I'm curious.
I don't know. Who runs off when she realizes Violet is awake and not dying because one, she always wears her armor that her sister gave her, so like the stab wouldn't work. And two, Taryn sensed it coming and woke her the fuck up. So Violet starts to fight them off. One of them is Orin. This is kind of important. When Andarna uses her powers to stop time briefly, which is not a thing normally. Violet is able to use those few seconds to break free of Orin's grip and run towards the door. Xaden is in the doorway and has seen this whole thing, and he goes all murdery.
Well, I mean...
He's all like, listen, she's kinder than me. She let you live. I'm not as nice as her. And then he, like, uses his shadow powers. He has shadow powers. And bodies all of them in, like, 5 seconds. And I'm just like, okay. I'm down. He takes her out to see the dragon, and I think this is when she learns that Gale, who, I think that's how you pronounce it, his dragon is mated with her dragon. And so now they're somewhat bonded, and there's a risk that if one of them dies, they both die. They also learn that in this moment, they learn Andarna is just a baby. And that's why humans don't see Feathertails very often. And she's like technically an orphan dragon, but their two dragons are basically the adoptive parents of this dragon, and so they're like very protective of her. It is also explained the way that magic with Feathertails, aka baby dragons, work, where is if you're bonded with one and use their power too much, it kills them.
Oh my god.
Which is a closely guarded secret of the dragons. So they trust both Xaden and Violet to not say anything. I think this is the part where they can start talking in each other's heads a little bit, and both understand the other person's dragon, right? But also, Andarna is like, I knew this was like a thing where you could use me and kill me, but I trust you, so, and that's why I chose you. Also, the whole reason why Tryon, what's his name? Tyrion? I don't remember. Her dragon, bonded with her is because she protected the Yellowtail, so that's the whole thing. So Violet tells Xaden about Ember being an accomplice, which is illegal. The following day, Xaden calls the other wing leaders together to put Amber on trial. Okay, this is the part where I went full on fuck the Dane train. I did not mean for that to rhyme. So Dane's power is that he can, when he touches somebody, he can read their mind.
Ew.
And so he's all like, what are you talking about? Amber's the one who did this. Why would you tell me something like this? And she's like, because you wouldn't fucking believe me like you're not fucking believing me right now. And then he forcefully tries to grab onto her to read her memories. And she's like, bitch, fuck no. Obviously. So, Violet asks Taryn to send her memories to the other wing leaders, which she does, and, yeah, Amber's guilty. So Amber is burnt alive. Let's go!
Okay, so we had barbecue with... We need a side now. What side are we bringing? Are we bringing mac and cheese?
Ooh, yeah, let's do mac and cheese.
Okay.
Xaden,
so normal.
Xaden moves some of the squad around inside his foster brother Liam to guard Violet, and also like puts him like in the room next door to hers. He also puts a ward on Violet's door so no one can enter but her and him. She's not the happiest about this because she's like, I can handle myself, and he's all like, you probably could, but I'd rather be safe. So, Liam is great. We love Liam. He grew up in the same foster home as Xaden after their parents were executed in the rebellion. Imogen, who is a second year of the marked children, starts helping Violet train her muscles. And it's this whole thing where whenever she tries to fly on Terran, because of how her muscles are, she can't hold on properly, so he has to give up some of his power in order to keep her on. And so she's trying to train to get stronger so that she can hold on her own, so that he's not wasting power trying to keep her on. It's this whole thing. It's a lot of her falling off of a dragon constantly. So one evening, she's starting to feel all hot and heavy. At this point, she's like very friendly with Liam, and so Liam's all like, "What you doing outside your room?" And she's like, "Oh my God, you gotta go, because if you don't go, I will climb you." Yeah.
Calm down, girl.
And she realizes Taryn and Skyle are mating and runs outside to cool down, where she bumps into Zayden, who is smoking to help himself calm down because he's also dealing with it. And I think there's like this whole thing where he teaches her, because she hasn't gotten her sigil, her magical ability yet. She hasn't started the magical ability training yet, so she hasn't learned how to block the dragons out of her head yet. And so he helps her learn how to do it, and she's like immediately expert at that. Right?
I'm sorry. Don't pause. Are you trying to tell me that she's horny because the dragons were horny?
Yes, they're both horny because the dragons are horny.
That's so weird.
And so, he trains her in that. She's immediately an expert on that. That's a cool thing. And then they kiss, and it gets kind of hot and heavy. But he breaks it off.
Bro, are you serious?
Too far. Anyways, Violet is training one day when Jack comes in and starts talking smack. She says something about oranges and citrus, or he says something about oranges and citrus. She insults him. Liam has to escort Jack out of the room. It's this whole thing. So Violet learns that there are no copies of the Book of the Fables in the archive, which is like this book her father would read to her when she was growing up, and she couldn't bring it with her. And she thinks it's weird because the archive has a copy of every book ever written, apart from Forbidden Book. That's weird. That's suspicious. The time comes for Violet to face Jack on the mats. She tells Liam it's going to happen, but she asks him not to tell Zayden. Liam loses his nerve and runs off to get Zayden anyways. And in the fight, Jack tries to kill her, and she uses his orange allergy against him and takes him out. We love that. She wakes up in the infirmary, and Zayden is next to her, where he tells her off and says he's going to have to look after her himself from now on. I would like to know, this whole time, he's known about the poisoning. And he's just like, that's just smart thinking, my girl.
Anyway.
They go out for some flying practice, and they bump into Violet's mother, who pretty much ignores her daughter. And it's all like
that seems like a common thing. Am I crazy?
Not really. Well, for them, yes, but not in general. It's like this whole thing where it's like titles only, I don't care about you at all, like, type thing. And, Zayden is all like, what kind of relationship do you have with your fucking mother? Oh my god. Like, I'm the son of a rebel, and yet my relationship with my parents was much better. Like, so the squad is sent to this area, which is where Mira is stationed, and she teaches them about tactics. There's this whole thing where you can't have outside contact with the world, and Rhiannon's sister lives, like, very nearby, and just gave birth. And so she's all like, I want to break out and go see my sister. And so Mira helps them. They do that. And then Mira gives her the Book of Fables. And then, right when they're returning back to the camp, Zayden arrives. It's this whole thing where Taryn and Skagel can't be apart for very long, and this is very big issue because she's only first year, and next year he's going on the front lines. So either he's gonna have to keep on leaving the front lines with the most powerful dragon riders, kind of the most powerful dragon rider, is either gonna have to leave the front lines to go back to school to be with her, or she's gonna have to leave school to go on the front lines as a second year. So Zeta and Dane start bickering immediately. Wow! So, Mira tells them both off because it's going to put the squad at risk. It's a good old time. I would like you to know, I think around this point is when she brings up to Dane, bitch, you try to forcefully read my mind, and he was like, oh, I'm so sorry, I didn't even realize I was doing that. What? Yeah. So, the outpost is attacked, and the squad has to flee. Violet wants to stay, but Zayden literally drags her off to flee. Good times. So, she begs the scribes for news, and one of them coughs to her that Mira survived the attack, right? Zayden has a saddle made for Violet to use on Taryn, like a special one just for her. And Taryn helped design it. So that's fun. I think there's also like a part. Is this where there was part of their job is to go down to the scribes and get things for professors, and one of them is for like the daily news kind of type thing, to talk about war combat based off of real things that are happening right now in the war, right? And they accidentally open up one of the scrolls when it falls, and it has like important information, and then that day at that class is never brought up, and it's kind of suspicious. It's kind of weird. What's going on there? So there's another contest, and they have to play around to capture the flag, except it's also capture the egg.
Can we also play capture the flag? I need some excitement in my life.
Sure. She's on defense alongside her squad. Jack shows up and starts trying to attack them all. Liam is injured, and Violet uses Andarna's power to freeze time for like 5 seconds, so Taryn can catch Liam before he falls into the glacier. And then she accidentally hits the tower with lightning and kills Jack. Yep.
Anyways,
her significant power was lightning. So that's a whole thing. She lands her dragon and she's like freaking out because this is the first time she's ever killed somebody, right? Dane is all like being Dane about it. But Zayden is the one there who like emotionally, maturely talks her down, talks her through it, all this stuff. And then he checks on her later on in her room. And then they get it on.
Oh.
He's all like, I don't want you to regret this. You're in a highly emotional state because of this. And she's like, bitch, I've wanted to do this for a while. Like, no. All this stuff, right? We learned great things. Like, he is very great with his fingers.
Oh, okay.
He's an expert with his fingers. It's with her lightning powers and his shadow magic. It is so they like can't control their magic in the moment, and her room basically blows up.
That's so fucking funny.
Like literally the window breaks, and he uses his shadow to protect her from the glass. And as they're like going at it, like mid pump doing this, and I'm just there like.
That's crazy.
When the sex is so good that you literally cause your room to blow up in lightning. Anyways, this is when they learn they can talk using their mind through the bond. She starts training her lightning abilities, and she has better stamina over time, but she has trouble aiming them. There's a big party to celebrate the end of the rebellion. The king shows up, and her mother's at his side. The king compliments her, but is displeased because very few of the rebels' children have shown up. I wonder why. Liam is forced to show up because he has to be at her side at all times, right? So yeah. Violet apologized to him for making him come to the party, even though it's not technically her fault. And they both leave the party, and she goes to find Satan, and he's all like, you shouldn't do that. And also some of his other friends are like, you shouldn't do that. He's kind of in a mood. And she's like, okay. And then goes out. He's on the parapet, the first obstacle course that they went on. And so she goes out on it while wearing heels, and I think she's wearing heels. She may not be wearing heels, but definitely a dress. A black dress. And he's all like, bitch, what the fuck? And she's like, I can either go over there, or you can come over here, we can hang out in your room. And he's like, you right. And go to her room, or his room. And, more pieces of furniture may be blown up. It's fine.
Oh my god.
They go until like 4 a.m. They're going multiple times.
Somebody needs to get summoned. It's definitely not us.
There's this whole thing where he's like, you can't catch feelings for me. And she's like, bitch, I can catch feelings or I cannot catch feelings. I think this is went on the parapet this time. She's all like, too fucking late because I care about you because you're a person who tries to hide your feelings for other people because you have to be strong because of everything you've gone through. But you don't have to be strong for me, all this stuff. And I know you care for me too. And it's very clear that he does. I'm gonna sip my water.
Not the sip of water.
There's a knock on the door for him. So
knocking on the door for him. Stop banging so loud.
Zayden's all like, people better be dead. And the guy on the other end is like, yeah, a lot of them are. They're under attack. So they quickly get dressed, and he gives Violet his flight jacket. Anyways, it's actually a drill.
Oh my god.
The way she wrote this, I immediately felt like them. I was like, bitch, what the fuck? Because it's like, oh my god, we're under attack. And the next chapter is like, it's a drill. And I'm just like, bitch.
That's kind of funny though.
Right? It's the final test. And Violet's supposed to be going with Dane and the rest of their squad. But Zeta swaps her out to come to Athabine with him. And he's mentioned, like, having to go there before, right? Rhiannon, like, protects her, because the symbols of Zayden's, position are on the sleeve, and so she, like, stands in front of her shoulder, so that Dane can't see that she's wearing his flight jacket. And then Rhiannon's like, let's go, girl. Also, I should mention, Rhiannon has, an on-off thing with multiple people, including a woman.
Oh?
Yeah, Rhiannon is the bi representation I need.
And so is a certain brother. You're the bisexual brother, and I'm the lesbian sister.
I love being the bisexual brother.
The bisexual son is a lesbian daughter.
The teams head off. They stop when they're about an hour outside of Athabine. Zayden and Violet kiss while the dragons take some time to rest. And then, oh my god, the griffins show up. I should mention they're fighting a war against griffins. Oh my god, griffins show up. It turns out Zayden and the other rebel children have provided the griffins with people with weapons. And these weapons are the only way of killing Vernon and Wyvern. Vernon, which are powerful magical users who take power from the earth itself. And the only way she knows anything about Vernon and Wyverns is from this book of fables. And she's like, oh my god, I didn't know this was real. And also there was like a secret message from her dad in it. And she's like, oh my god, he knew and he was trying to tell me. And oh my god. But also Zayden betrayed me? So, as you can imagine, literally as soon as the griffins leave, all the other people there who are like children of rebellions are like, good luck, my dude, and leave. And her dragons knew. And she's like, cool, so not only is my boyfriend keeping secrets from me, but so are my dragons. Fuck you all. But the dragons didn't tell her because they were trying to make Zayden tell her himself. And And then this is when she realizes that everything has been a lie. Everything about history, everything about the wars, her mother, like everything's been a lie. Tana and Darna, Zane receives a note from the colonel, which says their mission is to survive if they can. I should mention before she left to go on this mission, Zane was like, "Are you sure you want to go with them?" And she's like, "Yeah, it's like my job." And he's like, "Okay, I'm sorry, this happens." She doesn't have long to be upset because the Griffin flyers tell them there are 4 Vernon heading to this location, and they decide to go and stop them from attacking this village, and they're after something, blah, 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 blah. So Zayden and the rest of them realize their options are either to return back to the school or save these people with the understanding that either way they will die.
Okay, well.
Yeah. So this is when Violet realizes she overheard them talking about this place when she was in that tree, right? And after that, shortly after that, Dana touched her face and read her memories and told the people in charge. There's like this whole thing where the only thing he cares about are the rules. Case in point, when after everything that happened with the bonding of the dragons, and Zayden almost went to stop everything from happening, but the dragon took care of it itself. He goes to Dane and is like, "Would you have done that?" He's like, "No, it's the rules." And she's like really sad. She's like, "No, I understand this is who you are. It's just not somebody who can be with me." Right? It's this whole thing. Right? So he told the people, knowing that she was going to go with them, let her go, knowing that she was going to die if she went. Yeah, she starts blaming herself and Zayden's like, "It's not your fault, it's fucking his! He's the dumbass who read your fucking mind against your will." Thank you, Zayden. So they all agree to go save the village, and also try to figure out what the fuck they're after. And Darnan is instructed to stay behind to be safe. The Vernon are super powerful, and they have Wyvern. They're like super large dragons, but with 2 legs instead of 4. Blah blah blah. There's attack. There's a huge battle. I'm not gonna go in depth.
Super large dragons with two legs instead of 4. That's just a dinosaur.
You're right. You're right. There's a huge battle. A lot of stuff happens. It's very chaotic. So Liam's dragon dies trying to protect Violet and Taryn. And she's freaking out because that means that Liam is going to die. It tries to save him, but there's nothing she can do. And he dies. I cried. This is the part where I cried because I don't talk much about it, but they had a like very cute friendship. It was very sweet. Fucking I loved Liam. Okay. So Interna enters the battle. Around this time, she realizes that there's very few things that can kill the Vernon. If they die, the dragon dies, or if the dragon dies, the Vernon dies. And so there's like these daggers you can use to stab them, but it's like very difficult because they're super powerful, right? But also, lightning also works. But she's bad at aiming, and so if like a giant wyvern's coming at her, it's not gonna be good chances. But if Indarna pauses time, so that she can lightning all of them.
Oh my god.
Then all the wyvern under their control die too. She does do a hand-in-hand combat with one of them, and they stab her with a dagger that has some kind of poison on it, right? And so she kills the last one, and all the wyvern dies, saving everybody. But she dips in and out of consciousness, and she's dying.
Well, maybe she hadn't poisoned all those other people. She would be getting poisoned right now.
It's very funny because in her head she's half conscious and she's like, all this time I've been poisoning people and I know so much about poison and I die from being poisoned. It is kind of funny. And then like it's in her head how half conscious that happening and he's carrying her and she's like in pain and he's like panicking over her body, right? And she overhears him talking to the others, being like, "We gotta take her to him." And then it cuts to a Zayden chapter.
Oh,
I love it in books like this when it switches to his chapter near the end, and I'm like,
real.
In which he has not left her side since. it's been days. And she wakes up and he assumes that like she doesn't have memories because she's not immediately pissed at him. She's like, no, I'm pissed, but I'm trying to figure out where the fuck we are and what's happening. Right? And he, in his head, he's all like, I love her, I will do anything to get her trust back, I love her so much, she is my love, blah, blah, blah. Right? So, it cuts back to her POV, and she's all like, I can't trust you anymore, right? There's like something to do with an iron box that the Vernon were trying to get, blah, blah, blah. It's not important. I mean, it's plot important, but it's not important to me. He's all like, listen, you may not, she recognizes the city they're in as one that was destroyed, right? And so she's like, how's it that? And then, he's all like, listen, you may not trust me, but you will trust him, and he's, like, you gotta listen to him, right? And then who comes to the door? The most powerful healer that he knows of, the only person who could have fixed her, it's her brother Brennan.
Wow!
That and plot twist was spoilers for me, and I was like, fuck you, that actually would have been good. Anyways. And that's how the book ends. That's how the book ends. There's this, okay, now this is where I talk about, listen, was a lot of the stuff very obvious? Yes. Was Dane's switch to the dark side, not really switch to the dark side, was Dane's constant obsession with following the rules, doing what he's told, and whatnot, even if it means giving her up, very heavily hinted at throughout the book. Yes. And we love that. Now, here's where I talk about the love triangle. The love triangle doesn't exist. Because, the first, like, 200 pages, she has a thing for Dane. Then Dane kisses her, and she's like, no. I'm not into that. Why did you become a robot? What did you do?
I breathe. I move.
Well, you're not a robot anymore, so it's fine. So she is all like, I'm living my best life. I don't like you like that, right? And then she's like had a little bit of an inkling for Zayden, but like, then she starts getting closer to Zayden, and Zayden respects her. And Zayden's a really good kisser, and he's got very skilled fingers. And literally, it's her like, it's no love triangle. There's no triangle here. It's her going, I'm not actually into this guy. I'm into this guy. There's no love triangle. Like, I don't even believe Dane actually likes her. So, anyways, that is my whole thing. It plays on that whole trope. Very funny.
Bring back real love triangles.
We need love triangles like Iron Widow, in which it's actually a triangle and they're all together. And apparently, in the second one of them gets pegged. Pause! Did you not see that? I sent that to you, and there was apparently a thing with the publishing where when the book came out, there's like a sentence missing out of one of the pages, and it's supposed to heavily hint at the fact that he's being pegged. And I'm like, wait a second, girl. I'm like, girl, or fam, you cannot just say that one of these men is getting pegged and not expect me to need to read the whole book immediately. Like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That from us.
I was like,
that from us.
I was like, damn, okay.
I'm gonna open it, but who the fuck took that line from us? I need to have a conversation with a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because I know they've had a lot of problems with publishing as a whole. I need to talk to some people about this. I need to have a friendly conversation.
Anyways, yeah. There's no pegging in this one, but that's fine because I hate Dane. Dane can go die in a hole. I hate him. I dislike Dane. Heavily, I don't know if you could tell.
I can tell, don't worry.
And I love Zayden and, his very skilled fingers.
Oh my god.
The way you said that was so funny. Anyways, I rated it 5 stars and I had a great fucking time. I read most of this in one day. I read it in 24 hours, and this is almost 600 pages. Actually, I think my copy was over 600 pages. Let me check that. 643 pages. I read most of it in one day. All of it in 24 hours.
Because there's something wrong in your head.
I may have gotten a little obsessive with it. I'm scared because I've heard mixed things about the second one, but I will read it in the next week.
Wrong in my head too, because the crack on your ceiling, and you got a pussy ceiling.
That's so funny. Oh my god.
Because it's darker around the crack.
Yeah, because water leaks from it. That's water damage.
You got a pussy ceiling.
It gets too wet, so it gets darker.
I'm just sitting here, and you move so I can like really see it. I'm just like, I'm sorry. It's true.
Oh my god. Anyways.
Titty lights too.
This was a book that I really loved, and I'm scared for Fourth Wing. I don't know when that episode's gonna come out. I am reading it next week, but it's not gonna come out at least until April. Actually, I could easily plan April right now because I know what one of the books is gonna be.
Oh my god.
Listen, we don't need to talk about how my brain works.
Can we talk about how my brain doesn't work?
I believe in you. Next episode, listen, this time we had dragon fucking. Next time we got werewolf and vampire fucking.
We have a full spectrum.
We got range, baby.
Rounded.
And then the time after that, it's just normal contemporary romance. It's gonna be very boring. I'm kidding. It's Allie Hazelwood. I will eat that shit up so fast. And then after that, we have hockey. And a book that I know nothing about. All I know is I will dislike it. That's all I've been told.
I don't know what's going on anymore.
I don't know what's going on with anything anymore either. Oh my god, this is only an hour long for a 650-page book. Be so proud of me.
There's probably a lot to be cut out too. It's probably
true.
gonna be like at least 50 minutes. That's great for us.
I love that for us. Alright, do you have anything else left to say, bestie?
No.
Thank you.